Now, we all know that a book is a great gift to give a child, but if you're stumped on what book to choose, then our next guests might be of some help.
Indeed, they will. Today we have 3 young book reviewers in studio, along with Kieran Grimes, to tell us about the books they've chosen as their Christmas reads. Well, thank you very much for coming in.
We're joined by Rachel O'Connor, Tom Connolly and Patrick Rogers, and the big one on the end is Kieran Grimes.
But just a big kid, really,
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, at heart.
You've got 4 great choices here. We'll go through them all one by one now. But first of all, Kieran, since you are our expert.
Age before beauty.
I wasn't going to say it, but there you go. Tales of Beedle the Bard. I know it's got loads of publicity because it's written by J.K. Rowling, of course, of Harry Potter fame. But a nice little stocking filler, I would imagine, for anyone at any age, not necessarily just children.
Absolutely. The good thing about it is that even though the Harry Potter series has ended, this is kind of keeping it alive. And this was actually mentioned in the final Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, where Hermione inherits it from Dumbledore. So basically these are 5 fairy tales that are about 500 years old, and Hermione has translated them, given them a fresh kind of twist. So she has given them a fresh twist, and also Dumbledore's footnotes are also attached because he interprets the morals behind each of the fairy tales. So each fairy tale, they're quite short. They're between 6, some of them are 6 pages, some of them are 12 pages, and there are very nice illustrations by J.K. Rowling herself. So it would take you about 40 minutes to read the entire thing.
But do they? I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, a huge, ridiculous nerd of a fan.
Yeah.
But does it capture the same sort of sense of magic and...
Absolutely. All of the characters are either witches or wizards, and they all perform magic, but they're good. And they're a bit different from our own fairy tales, because in our own fairy tales, usually the heroine or hero is under a spell, and they're waiting for a Prince Charming to wake them up after 100 years.
Which doesn't ever really happen.
Exactly. So this one, these characters actually are more active in in becoming the hero, that they don't have to wait for somebody to put a shoe on their foot.
They're doing their own thing, really.
Exactly, they're more active, but they're lovely. They're very nicely written, and they would be ideal for any stocking filler, or for an adult.
All the fairy tales, of course, were originally morality tales. They were designed, you know, as a way of teaching children right from wrong. Does Rowling do that with these stories?
Yeah, I mean, what these are about, they are very much in favour of muggles, like non-magic people. And the struggle that is in the Harry Potter books is that there's a battle between magic people and non-magic people, but this favours non-magic people, and that's the message that Dumbledore tries to get across.
Okay,
so
speaking of muggles, we have...
Rachel, Tom and Patrick.
We have 3, and before we find out what our reviewers thought of the books, let's find out what they selected and why they selected them.
I'm here in Hughes & Hughes in Dunleary with Rachel, Tom and Patrick, and I've enlisted them to help me find some children's books for Christmas. Are we ready? Okay, let's go. Okay, you've chosen your books. Rachel, you have Twilight. Tom, you have Spies. And Patrick, Toro. Okay. Well, there's only one thing left for you to do, and that's to get reading.
And you know what they say, the eating of the pudding, or the
Proof of the pudding
is in the eating of it. Rachel, we'll start with you. You picked Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Now, I have a daughter about your age, and I am told reliably that this is the hottest thing since basically the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, they're really, really good. They're amazing books, and yeah, it's about a girl...
It's a vampire story, isn't it?
Yeah, vampires.
Well, it's a vampire stroke love story.
Yeah, it's about a girl called Bella who moves to a town called Forks to live with her dad. and she meets this boy called Edward Cullen. And he's a bit strange. Like one minute he's like really nice to her, and another minute he's like trying to avoid her as much as possible. And she starts to fall in love with him. And then she finds out that he's a vampire, and she doesn't care because she knows that she still loves him. So it's kind of...
And he loves her too, but he's afraid that if he falls in love with her and bites her, then she'll be damned for eternity.
Or dead.
Oh, well, that's not...
Well, if she becomes a vampire, she becomes the sort of the living dead, the undead, doesn't she?
Yeah.
So is this like High School Musical without the music, but loads of blood?
Yeah, take away the music and then add a few vampires into the mix, and then you've got Twilight.
But it has captured millions of young people, particularly young girls' imaginations. What is it about it that you liked?
I don't know, it's just kind of the way that she tells the story. It's very descriptive, and it really makes you feel that you're there. Like, there's one bit where she's in a forest and it's just rained, and she really gets across the way. You know, if there's like rain on the leaves and it's just falling down, she really captures that, and she really captures like fitting in.
Is it scary?
Some bits are scary, but
is it
most
romantic?
of the time, yeah.
Lots of kissy bits.
Not too many. Most of it, it's kind of.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, you're allowed. But anyway, if you were to, out of 10, how many would you give it?
Definitely 10.
10 out of 10. And of course, the movie is opening on Friday, so you'll be going to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's first in the series as well.
Yeah, there's 4 more. There's 3 more. Sorry.
Loads more to look forward to for that. Now, Tom, you have a very interesting book here, Spies.
Yeah, well, it's not a novel, it's really just a factual book, and it tells you about all these real-life spies, and if you want, it tells you, like, if you want to be a spy, gives you some tips on being one.
Now, when it says tips on how to be a spy, could you apply them now in your own day-to-day
well, to disguise yourselves in, like, just ordinary clothes, and just try not to be like followed by other spies. And you just
is it interactive in the sense that does it pop up, or does it have
no, it's just
a manual for being a junior spy?
Well, it tells you some other like spies, and just some got caught and others got away, and tells you some about robot spies.
Does it tell you how to send messages and codes and do invisible ink and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, there is
You're loving this. You
invisible.
want one of those yourself.
There is invisible ink.
What is it, lemon juice, is it? That's when I was growing up, they told us if you got lemon juice and put it into a nib pen and wrote it, I mean, it would be invisible, but then when you put a little heat underneath it, it came up. What? Does that tell you that?
There you go.
Who needs a big book? If you've got Mark Cagney, you do know everything. You're
Yeah. Anyway, out of 10, how many would you give it, sir?
9.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's quite a high mark still for a
Patrick, let's move on to Patrick Rogers. This is a book by Michael Morpurgo, and it's called Toro. And this is it's about a boy and his pet bull.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more than that, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, he lives on a bull farm in Spain, and he brings up a bull called Paco, and they become friends. But when the bull gets too big, they have to be separated. So when he finds out that Paco is destined for the bull ring, he decides...
Which means eventually death.
Yeah.
So he's very upset, and what does he try to save him?
Yeah, so he tries to save him before it's too late. So he and Paco and his horse, Chica, they go off and into...
So they go on kind of an adventure.
Wild, yeah.
See, it's set against the background of the Second World War and the Spanish Civil War, isn't it?
Civil War in Spain, and it turns out he picked the right time to go away as it's beginning to kick in his town.
Did you enjoy the book?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose sometimes when they have stories like that, it can be to a particular taste. Would that be the normal type of book you would choose for yourself?
Yeah, well, it's not too long and it's easy to read, so, yeah.
It sounds like the kind of book that you could read and that like your father could read or your mother could read. It's kind of done on a couple of levels, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, out of 10, how many would you give it?
I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Oh, very good, okay.
Very high
So
marks.
it's an
Kieran, you
all-round
never gave us
thumbs
your
up.
mark.
I give it 10 out of 10 as well.
Yay, very
Okay, so thank you very much indeed. Happy Christmas.
Thanks for coming.
Now,
Now,
going to let you keep the books?
of course, yeah.
That makes a change.
After all that, if you're still unsure about what book to choose your little reader, then make sure to tune in next week when Kieran will be counting down his top 10 kids' books of the year.
Now, still to come, we will be hearing...